Before the flirting. Before the rooftop talks. Before the late-night almost kisses. Kai Mori and Ravenvale absolutely could not stand each other. At least, that's what they told themselves. The cafeteria exploded into noise as Raven dropped her tray across from Kai aggressively. You took my seat. Kai didn't even look up from his book. There are 43 other chairs. Yeah, but I like this one. Then your suffering is self-inflicted. Raven narrowed her amber eyes. Kai calmly continued reading. Mostly because looking directly at her for too long lately was becoming dangerous. Unfortunately, Raven noticed everything. You always act like you're better than everyone. Kai turned a page. I do not act. Oh my god, you're annoying. You speak loudly for someone with no combat ability. Combat ability? Yes, this is high school, not Mortal Kombat. Kai looked up slowly. Coward. Raven slammed both hands onto the table. Oh, you wanna go? The cafeteria immediately went silent. Several students pulled out phones. One guy whispered. Not again. Kai stood slowly from his chair. Tall, calm, terrifying. Raven still had to tilt her head up slightly to look him in the eyes. Neither backed down. The tension was ridiculous. Then, Seraphiel's tiny cat voice echoed from Kai's backpack. Kiss already. Kai nearly choked to death. Raven blinked. Was your bag talking? No. MHM. Chapter 5. Enemies. Raven became Kai's personal problem after that. Everywhere he went. She appeared. In the hallway. At lunch. Outside class. Once somehow on the roof before him. You following me now? Kai asked coldly. Raven crossed her arms. You wish. You are standing 3 feet away from me. You started it. I merely existed. Exactly. Kai stared at her. You make no sense. And you act like an anime villain from 2008. Kai looked offended. I will not tolerate such disrespect. See, that dramatic nonsense. Kai stepped closer. Careful, human. Raven stepped closer too. Or what? Now they were dangerously close. Close enough to feel each other breathing. Kai's eyes flickered slightly red for half a second. Raven noticed. Interesting. Very interesting. You're weird, she whispered. Kai smirked faintly. You continue approaching me regardless. Raven's heart skipped once. Which immediately annoyed her. She shoved him backward lightly. You're insufferable. And yet, Kai said calmly, you are still here. Raven hated how attractive that sounded. Chapter 6. The Rumor. By the next month, the entire school believed Kai and Raven secretly liked each other. This only made things worse. You two act like a divorced couple, one student said. We are not together, Raven snapped instantly. Kai nodded once. I would rather battle archangels. Raven glared. You're so dramatic. You are so loud. You're emotionally constipated. You threatened someone with a stapler yesterday. He deserved it. Kai paused. Fair enough. Raven blinked. Wait, you agree with me? He was irritating. For the first time ever. They both laughed at the same time. Then immediately stopped. The silence afterward felt strangely warm. Too warm. Kai cleared his throat. This changes nothing. Obviously. Neither moved away though. And from nearby, Seraphiel watched from inside an air vent. Tiny cat face exhausted. Oh, they are down bad. Kai Mori survived exile. He survived high school. He survived angels trying to kill him. But nothing prepared him for having an actual girlfriend. You're staring again. Kai blinked slowly across the dinner table. I am observing. Raven smirked while sipping her milkshake. You've been observing me for 10 minutes. Kai looked away dramatically. This relationship has compromised my dignity. You kissed me first yesterday. You kissed me back. Because you pulled me into your lap. Kai nearly inhaled his drink wrong. Across the booth, Raven looked entirely too pleased with herself. Dating had somehow made her even more dangerous. Kai was discovering that humans became unbearably smug once they knew you loved them. Especially Raven. She leaned across the table slightly. You know, she whispered teasingly, you're way softer now. Kai narrowed his eyes. I once destroyed a minor demon kingdom. And now you text me goodnight with black heart emojis. Kai froze. That information was confidential. Raven laughed so hard she nearly dropped her fries. Chapter 7. Apartment 306 inches. Years passed. High school became college. College became adulthood. And somehow, they never left each other. Now they lived together in a small apartment overlooking the city. Which sounded romantic. Until one considered the fact Kai was still technically a terrifying demon prince. For example, Kai. Why are there swords in our kitchen? They are ceremonial. You used one to cut cheesecake. It was efficient. Raven sighed deeply. Domestic life with a demon was exhausting. Adorable, but exhausting. One night heavy rain rolled across the city while Raven folded laundry on the couch. Kai stood near the window shirtless after returning from dealing with a rogue underworld creature. Black markings still glowed faintly across his skin. Raven looked up, then immediately forgot what she was saying. Kai noticed instantly. Why are you staring? Raven coughed. No reason. Kai walked closer slowly. Too close. That unfair deep voice dropped lower. You are blushing. No, I'm not. You absolutely are. Raven tried looking away. Unfortunately, Kai had learned over the years that teasing her back was incredibly entertaining. So now the former terrifying demon prince leaned over the couch slightly. Cornering her. What happened? He murmured. Human words stopped working. Raven grabbed his shirt collar instantly and pulled him down into a kiss before he could get cocky about it. Which only made things worse because Kai kissed back immediately. Slow, warm, dangerously affectionate. The laundry fell onto the floor forgotten. Somewhere nearby. Seraphiel covered his cat eyes dramatically. I miss when you two argued. Chapter 8. The Proposal. It happened on the rooftop of Blackthorn High. The exact place they first stopped being enemies. The city lights glowed beneath them while cold wind moved through Raven's hair. She smiled softly. Feel smaller now. I stood beside her quietly. Humans change quickly. You changed too. I looked at her for a long moment. Then slowly reached into his coat. Raven blinked. Kai. His expression actually looked nervous. Which was horrifying. because Kai once threatened a death god without fear. Yet now his hands shook slightly. I spent centuries believing love made creatures weak, he said quietly. Raven's chest tightened. But you, he swallowed once. You made me want a future. Then he lowered himself onto one knee. Raven immediately covered her mouth. Even Seraphiel gasped. Tiny Cat absolutely stunned. Kai pulled out a dark silver ring glowing faintly crimson. Raven Vale, he said softly, will you marry me? Raven started crying instantly. Well, Kai whispered in panic. Those are tears. Shut up, she laughed through tears while grabbing his face. Yes, yes, you dramatic idiot. Kai looked genuinely speechless. Which lasted about 2 seconds before Raven kissed him hard enough to nearly knock him backward. From nearby, Seraphiel sniffled emotionally. I hate that this is beautiful. Final chapter, Chapter 9. Till Death and Beyond. The wedding took place at midnight beneath a sky full of stars. Humans attended, demons attended. Even angels came reluctantly. Nobody trusted each other. But everyone loved them. Raven stood at the altar in a black and silver dress while Kai stared at her like the universe itself had stopped moving. You're crying, Raven whispered teasingly. I am not. A tear rolled down his face immediately. Traitor, Kai muttered to himself. Raven laughed softly. Then the vows began. Kai took her hands carefully. Like she was still the most precious thing he had ever touched. You gave humanity a heart I could survive inside, he whispered. Raven's eyes watered instantly again. And you, she whispered back, gave the monster inside me somewhere safe to rest. Even the demons looked emotional after that. Seraphiel openly sobbed into a tiny napkin. When the priest finally announced them husband and wife, Kai kissed Raven like he'd waited lifetimes for it. Because in a way, he had, and above them, beyond earth and heaven and hell alike, the stars burned softly, as if the universe itself approved.